Good day, everybody. It is Calxiyn and Hunter here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe for more RWBY videos, and this video is brought to you by my patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube membership members, so thanks to them very much. I have cracked it, guys. We have cracked it, okay? We've talked about Cinder being related to Watts. We've talked about Cinder being related to the lady scientist, which was apparently confirmed in the Volume 7 commentary not to be true, so that theory's, like, just dead in the water. We've talked about Cinder being related to Jacques and, like, inadvertently being sort of the half-sister of Weiss and Winter.
I'm pretty sure there was some, like, old Mega Shadow Dragon theories about Jean and Cinder being related.
But we have cracked it, okay? I have found the truth, okay? Cinder is not a Schnee. She is not a Watts. I mean, she could still be a Watts, because Watts is a man. We don't know. Like, she is not a Watts. She is not a Schnee. She is a Rose, okay? She is Summer Rose's daughter. That is the theory that we are talking about today. And so I would like to read this comment from this guy that commented on my video, and his name is Adam Myers. And so I'm going to read his comment, and then I sort of took his comment and, like, expanded it in a brainstorming session with Hunter. So that is the plan for this theory today. I think that Cinder is actually a Rose, not a Schnee. The entire Schnee family has very particular features, and not least the white hair. So basically they're saying, like, well, Cinder doesn't have the white hair. Obviously, if she was Jacques' daughter,
which I think is
she
what
wouldn't,
we talked about.
which is what we talked about, but I know character design isn't everything, but still, in terms of her lust for power, Summer had silver eyes. Cinder does not. If Cinder was Summer's child, that would definitely have made it a Summer secret instead of an Ozpin secret. And from a storytelling perspective, tying Cinder's backstory to RWBY is far more fascinating than in the Schnee family drama. I feel like the Schnee family has quite a bit going on already, and associating Cinder with them doesn't make a lot of sense narratively speaking, which, like, I would say is kind of true. I still really like that idea of Cinder being related to the Schnees. I would take that, but I understand what they're saying. Like, in Cinder's madness, I guess she has never really targeted Weiss and Winter, and you really think that she would until now,
no, Cinder threw that spear.
She did, and so that was my piece of evidence in that theory, was that, oh, well, maybe, like, she was targeting her, but it's surprising that she wouldn't confront Weiss before this point, I think is what people are saying, especially being at the school. You know what I mean? She's never like, oh, you're the Schnee heiress? Like, she never says anything in front of her, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, would they do it with so little references until Volume 7? Because the only other thing we have is her throwing the spear at Weiss, right? But I do like the stuff that happened
Cinder
in Volume 7,
has killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And not all of the people she has murdered are related
But I as much as I like the theory that she is Jacques', like, bastard daughter or something, I do see where they're coming from with the fact that narratively, Cinder's whole thing is about RWBY, in a sense, right? Cinder being Summer's child, RWBY's sister, or half-sister, since she probably doesn't have the same father, right? Cinder's probably not Tai Yang's daughter.
Well, then it's like, who's Cinder's father?
Well,
that would be an interesting
we'll talk about that. It links far too much to the story of Weiss at a time when in the previous volumes was quite heavy on that front. So basically this person is saying, well, why now? Like, why would they have not talked about this before? And then they say, Cinder being Summer's child and RWBY's half-sister, and then Yang's stepsister, though, would connect a lot of threads that have been missing in one fell swoop. Cinder's backstory, the Summer mystery, giving RWBY a larger part of the narrative in a story where she wants to both reach Cinder emotionally, but still despises her for what she did to Penny and Pyrrha, while Cinder uses their connection as a way to punish her or manipulate her or something. Plus, it gives Cinder two sisters and that she is constantly at odds with, like the Cinderella story. If she's a Schnee, she gets two sisters and a brother, which challenges that version of Cinderella inspiration. So that's basically what they're saying is that they think it's more fascinating for her to be Summer's daughter than a Schnee daughter. And I do think that that's true, because, like, after this volume, we're done with the Schnees. At least I think so, right? We're done with the Schnees.
I mean, it kind of looks that way in the same way that we appear to be done with the White Fang.
And so, like, even though I really, really liked that idea, do I like this one better? Yes. A lot of people said, like, Monty that confirmed that Cinder was not related to Yang and RWBY. So I looked into it, and the only thing I could find is that Monty once confirmed that Cinder was not their mom. That Cinder was not Yang and RWBY's mom. And so that's not really a confirmation that there's no relation, just that she wasn't the mom, which was a very, like, oh, Cinder is Blake's mom. Like, all that was very popular back in those old days,
Those were the days of, like, Crow is RWBY's dad type deal.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think that there's enough evidence to say that anyone has ever said that they're not related, just that Cinder is not their mom. And the other thing is I think that there's a big difference between, say what you just said, right? Them saying every single fucking year that Crow is not Ruby's father, and then Monty saying something once a long time ago, if he said it, right? Because I couldn't even find that he actually said that they're not related in any capacity, right? Because, you know, a lot of shit changed, especially with Cinder, right? The Maidens weren't even a thing until, like, late volume 2 or whatever, right? And so, you know, like, they used to have these ideas on a fly, and so even if they had said something back then, if they have not reinforced it in the future, I don't think that's enough evidence. It's not like Crow being Ruby's father, which they've said every single year following, that we can be sure that it's not a thing now, right? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, they may have said this once, we can't actually find any evidence of them doing that, but so much changed with Cinder's backstory back then, who the fuck knows what could have happened, right? So here's what my theory would be, right? In the original Cinderella, it was always this thing like, oh, the father's leaving on a boat, or he's on business, or he's doing this, and that's why the stepmother and the stepsisters really get away with treating her poorly until that man dies and, like, never comes home and stuff like that, is that he's always away. And so what I'm thinking is that the father is actually the mother in this case. Like, Cinderella's father is actually supposed to be Summer. That Summer had a baby with someone before Tai-Yang, right? So, random men X, I guess, you know, we don't know who it is yet, but still went out and did missions for Ozpin, because as a silver-eyed warrior, you know, there's this responsibility to protect people still, even if she had a baby and a husband and all that stuff. And then Cinder's father maybe was like, I want to fuck around with some women, and my wife's never home, and, like, I'm just gonna leave. And so, basically, my theory is that Cinder's father was sort of like the evil stepmother in this case, in a sense. Like, she was he was frustrated, I guess, with Summer always being away.
Does that mean Cinder would have, like, evil step?
Well, that would be RWBY and Yang in this case, right? And so it's a little messy in terms of who's connected with who. But I'm basically thinking that, you know, the father was just like, you know what? Like, my wife's never home. I want to fuck some bitches. Like, we're leaving. And so we basically kidnapped his child, and they went somewhere else. They went to, like, I don't know, they went to Mistral or something, right?
Yeah, because she says she hails from Mistral. Well, whether or not that's really true.
Yeah, we don't really know if that's true yet. But yeah, and so, like, Cinder starts to grow up a little bit. Like, maybe she's, like, 5. I can't see this being too far away from when RWBY and Yang were born, just because of, like, the timeline with Team Stark and all that stuff. Are they Stark?
Stark.
Oh my god, it's been such a long time. Yeah, with the timeline with them, I can't see it being too long. And so, yeah, he, like, runs away to Vacuo with their child, or Vacuo, he runs away to Mistral with their child, or Vacuo, or wherever, right? They run away with their child. Raven abandons Yang, and Summer is like, I can only imagine what my daughter feels like being out there abandoned somewhere. And that's the other thing, is that Summer never stops looking. She keeps looking for leads, she keeps looking, like, for where Cinder could be, all that sort of stuff. She never stops searching, but when Yang is abandoned by Raven, that sort of hits something inside of Summer. Summer is just like, I can only imagine, like, my daughter growing up without a mother, like, maybe we can reunite them all someday. And so she goes to help Tai-Yang, she has RWBY, and still, though, Summer never stops looking. And that last mission, that Summer secret she went on, was searching for Cinder one last time.
What if Cinder killed?
Well, I think Cinder would be, like, 5, so I don't think that Cinder did it, but here's what I'm sort of thinking. That the Summer secret was Cinder, and what if Summer finally found her? You know, she takes her in her arms, she's like, we're going away.
Salem's there.
And so, like, she, you know, get her away from her abusive father, right? She's like, Cinder, you're gonna come home, you're gonna have a family, it's gonna be great, I missed you so much. They have a big hug, something like that, but then, as they are going home, as they are going back to Vale, Salem hunts her down and either kidnaps Summer or just, like, killed her on the spot. And then Salem was like, well, I can't leave an innocent, you know, malleable child here alone. And so Salem basically adopts Cinder, and Cinder doesn't really remember a time before Salem, which is why in the Volume 8 trailer, she says, I am nothing without you, or something like that, because she remembers her father being, like, abusive and stuff, but she literally does not remember the time. She does not remember having the caring mother of Summer Rose, and all that stuff. And I think that it would also be important if her abusive father, like, said something about the silver eyes. It's like, you would be valuable like your mother if you were a silver-eyed warrior, but you're just a piece of shit, right? You know what I mean? And, like, she didn't inherit that, and so that's where the resentment of the natural talent came from, right? And all of that sort of stuff. And so now the question is, does Cinder know she's related to RWBY? Because I would say no. I think that this would be better if it's a bombshell dropped on both of them, instead of Cinder knowing, because Cinder knowing doesn't, I don't know how Cinder would know and still be okay with Salem killing Summer, right? Because Salem would have killed Summer, and so it's like, how could you work with the person that killed your mom? But from her perspective, she could see, well, my mom abandoned me for you anyway, so like she deserved it, right? If that's how the narrative is in Cinder's head, is that her mom abandoned her, and so she got what she deserved. Like Summer got what she deserved being killed by Salem. That would be really fucked up. But the fact it hasn't, bitten anyone in the ass, the fact that Cinder has never mentioned, like, oh dear sister, like, ha ha ha, like the fact that no one has ever mentioned it, I feel like that's what makes it so Cinder has not known yet.
That's true.
Because why would she not throw it back in Ruby's face by now? It's been a long time.
I don't know. I guess I'm not against it, this theory. I just think it kind of doesn't work terribly well for Summer's character. Because it's either she has that change where she's like becomes Supermom, but she kind of appears to have been always like really kind and really caring, and so I couldn't imagine her abandoning her child.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? And so it would be the father that kidnapped her baby, you know what I mean? That's the only justification for how, Summer would have left her, right? Because this is why I wrote it this way, because I wanted to find a reason that Cinder and Summer would have been separated that does not come from Summer being a bad mom, because she was never a bad mom historically, and so the only thing I could think of is that Cinder's father basically like ran away with her for whatever reason. Was just like sick of it and like whatever.
But I could also see Summer like,
because she was super mom, but she also left sometimes, right? So that's the other thing, is that she could have still been super mom to Cinder, but the father could have just wanted his boner taken care of or something.
She trusted the man she left the children with, whether that be Tai Yang or. But, like, did she trust this?
Maybe that other guy, she did trust him, but he was just
more
bad.
duplicitous.
He was just a shitty guy.
What if she, like, I don't know, he sold her for, like, drinking money or something like that?
Maybe that's where it's like, you would have gotten more if you were a silver-eyed warrior.
What if that's the tragic thing, that it would have been,
It reminds me of Attack on Titan, like with Mikasa and all that stuff. It's like, oh, well, we'll only get half for her because she's, half white or whatever. Like, that was, like, the thing in Attack on Titan with Mikasa. And so I wonder, like, with Cinder, it's if on the black market, it's all, well, she's not even a silver-eyed warrior, but we'll take her. She's half silver-eyed, so just in case that recessive gene comes out one day.
Maybe that's the tragedy of it, is that, like, she was so close to being crabbed by Summer and so close to have gotten to live in a different life. But there was that it's kind of like in Fievel Goes West, where like Fievel goes away and then his mom, who's looking for her, walks right.
And then Salem kills her.
Yeah.
And then like Cinder's not any of the wiser, and so she's like, yeah, my mom abandoned me. My dad sold me into Mistral. I don't know, Mistral servitude or something, like, you know what I'm
because
saying?
There's that idea that in Minstrel there's a lot of, like, there's a shadier
class
parts of it.
problems and shady parts and stuff,
so maybe she got sold out to the shady parts, and that, like, maybe
that's what made her Cinderella,
maybe
right?
that's when we get to see the darker side of Summer. That maybe kind of alluded in that scene where Salem shows Ruby Summer, and it's all dark and scary. Maybe after realizing what the husband did or what the father did, Summer kills him, bro.
What did she kill her?
Yeah,
I mean, I would whack him too. You stealing my child.
Maybe Salem is about, or Summer is about to, like what you mentioned earlier, about to grab like 4-year-old Cinder.
Yeah, but, from the from servitude in Mistral, and then
because maybe Salem's attacking this place, and
that's true.
Because it would make sense that she would have connection.
It's sort
to
of like a Ren
situation,
right? Like. All that sort of stuff.
I think that would be really interesting.
Damn, bro.
And maybe there could even be some like weird connections to. No, this would be too weird to say. There's connections to like in the background when she's sacking the city, you can see baby Nora running away.
Oh my god, that'd be crazy!
That would
just
be wild,
see Nora and Ren running. Oh my god. Oh dear. But yeah, so that's this theory. I think I like the Schnee theory a lot, but I feel like they could do something with this.
There could be, or maybe even if they're not related, that Summer tries to save this girl.
Yeah, just out of the goodness of her heart,
know. I think there could be, it could be like there's a hard and there's a soft version of it. The hard is that Cinder is Summer's first child, and the soft is that Summer tried to save Cinder from this horrible life. But, like, just because of, like...
She's a good person.
Because she's a good person, but, like, it was just... She missed it just by that amount.
Feels sad. sad, man.
And it kind of speaks to that idea, like what we discussed earlier about like, well, are you born with things, or born with skill, or you work for skill? Are you born evil, or do you work for evil?
I also kind of have a feeling.
Integrated into
I have a feeling that Summer's not dead, but you know, we'll talk about
that later. We talked about the end of it. We did a video about what we thought the Volume 7 credit scene was, and one of them we thought that we'd see like Summer
being
frozen
like
in a crystal,
basically.
like Han Solo in carbonite.
Yeah. That's it from us, I think. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.